It is Tuesday. It is September 23rd, Gene. We're already
Yep.
coming into the bottom of September. It went fast, huh? And
Yes,
it's
it
not going
did.
to be like a fall day. It's going to be a little bit warmer out there today, a little summer-like, which Mario always likes to hear. But I
Nice.
appreciate fall. I don't know about you. But yeah, a lot of news today, huh?
Yes, a lot of news. The flowers are blooming behind you, so that's a good sign. Maybe we have a little more summer
Spring up
left.
here in my attic, my
Yeah.
anchor's attic. It's spring up here. I love all
Surprise
the
me. What's our lead story? Surprise me.
what could possibly be our lead story this morning? Acetaminophen. Say
Yes.
that 3 times fast.
Acetaminophen. The president had a little trouble saying that yesterday. Acetaminophen, Tylenol. The president says don't take Tylenol, especially if you're a pregnant woman, because he links it to autism through his Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr. They say studies show that acetaminophen is linked to childhood autism when pregnant women take it. Now, there is another side to the story because other studies say it has nothing to do with that. And the acetaminophen maker, Tylenol, says take it, it's safe, and the president basically doesn't know what he's talking about on this one. So that's two sides of the story, Alison.
Yeah, Tylenol is basically saying that they have a decade's worth of rigorous research confirming there's no credible evidence linking acetaminophen to autism. So I don't know. The government now seems to care about autism. $50 million to look for the cause. At least this administration's curious about it. So let's take a listen to the president and then RFK.
Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born.
One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines.
Well, that's RFK Jr. He's controversial to begin with because he was an anti-vaxxer before he got the HHS, and now this is controversial. Now, he will cite studies supporting his point of view, and the president bought into it. Don't take it if you're pregnant. Conversely, there are other studies that say there's no evidence that it causes childhood autism. Congressman Gabe Amo, Rhode Island Democrat, tweeting out right after this news yesterday, vaccines are safe. Tylenol doesn't cause autism. Climate change is real. Science matters. Pass it on. So, Alison, everything becomes political. Every single thing becomes political, including Tylenol.
You, it's on a personal note for me, it really bothers me because I do have a sister with autism who is nonverbal and autistic. And it feels like this is now the hot topic to bounce around. And I don't believe my parents believe that there is a link, just for the record.
No, what do we always say? Check with your doctor. Check with your physician.
Check with your doctor, right?
If you trust your doctor, you'll trust the person. So
yeah. So I work with a lot of adults and children with autism in my community work. Yep. So this touches close to home. I mean, at least we're paying attention to it now. I suppose that's a positive. People are recognizing what autism is, that it's something that needs to be managed, and it takes a lot of work to support people with disabilities, especially those suffering from autism. So at least we're hearing from folks like Autism Speaks, also coming out in front of this, saying, in this statement, we urge the administration's resources to be dedicated towards advancing new and innovative areas of research so the community benefits from fresh insights rather than revisiting questions that have been well studied, including vaccines and autism. So they're basically saying, okay, we appreciate you realizing that autism does exist. We need to research it more. We need to work for people who have it so they can have a good quality of life, but let's go forward, not backwards, with what's already been vetted according to them.
You know, Alison, the rates of autism are very, very high, and compared to 60s and 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, they've exponentially gone up. Now, 1 in 12 boys, I think, is diagnosed with autism. So there's a lot of people who believe, well, something's behind it, or others say, well, it's because we're diagnosing it. There's nothing new under the sun. We just didn't diagnose it in the past. Or is it something? Is it in the food? Is it in vaccines? Is it in Tylenol, as RFK Jr. suggests? He's the Health and Human Services Secretary.
He's not a doctor, though.
He's
not a doctor, which is why everybody gets frustrated with him, amongst many other reasons why.
Well, he has doctors on his staff. He has doctors who report to him, and he's got the president's ear, and that's the recommendation from the White House yesterday.
So Tylenol is going to fight back. Do you think they'll sue?
Well, who would they sue? You're going to sue the president, what, for slander? Because he thinks that it causes childhood autism? There are studies.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But how real are the studies? Yeah. How numerous are they compared to what's already been done before? I feel like there's going to be way more fallout from this.
there's contradictions going back and forth. The one study shows yes, the other study shows no. Tylenol says it's absolutely safe. Take it. Gabe Amo says Tylenol is safe. Take it.
Again, not a doctor. So, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of stinks when this becomes political. It should just stay really in the world of physicians, in my opinion, and researchers. But all right, so that's going to play itself out. But gynecologists, though, are still saying, and this is what we reported on Sunrise, that it's still safe to take acetaminophen during pregnancy. And I know friends of mine who are pregnant are taking it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
Some eye rolls, but some not.
Yeah.
All right. One of them is Christina. Christina's having a baby. She's our morning meteorologist, and she sent this in for us for coffee break this morning.
Hey, good Tuesday morning, everyone. We are looking at a lot of sunshine today with a mix of sun and clouds, and also our mildest day of the work week for technically our first full day of fall, but we're heading well above average in the upper 70s with some inland spots nearing 80. Slightly cooler at the coastline with the south wind, so a little sea breeze keeping us in the lower to mid 70s today. Again, dodging some on and off clouds and sun, and that's because of a front that's pushing our way as we head towards tonight. So after the sun goes down, we have that risk of some scattered rain showers. That continues into some of Wednesday. A cooler day overall in the lower 70s, still a touch sticky though, and we'll also be seeing some scattered rain showers, mainly early in the day, but we still have the risk of some isolated drizzle as the day goes on with those mostly cloudy skies. Our day that is going to be the wettest looking ahead though is Thursday. From start to finish, seeing scattered rain showers in the low 70s with some pockets of heavier rain. But we are improving as we get closer to the weekend. You'll notice some drier skies taking over throughout the second half of Friday. Not much sunshine there, but much brighter as we head towards the weekend. That's your forecast.
All right, I'm ready for fall. I look like I'm in the midst of spring, but yes, I'm ready for fall. Does Diane like fall?
She loves it. Yeah, she doesn't like the hot weather. And you know what? This is that time of year where the house is a little chillier than it is outside.
Yeah.
You ever notice that your house is cold?
Definitely.
I've got a long sleeve sweater on, but out you step outside, it's beautiful out. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
But we're in that week. No, Diane hates she absolutely hates the warm
I don't
weather,
like the humidity either, so I'm right there with her. All right, it's back to school. Everybody's back into school now. Did you guys run this morning on the radio, Woonsocket High School? A dozen arrests. That's a huge problem.
Yeah, 4 different brawls, a dozen arrests. The place was locked down. This is still September. They only got back, what, 3, right? Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So
high school administration says it's investigated this. Each fight it's actually 5, Gene. We have 5.
5, okay.
Each fight unrelated to the other. Chaos.
So,
Safety concerns remain. Families say the problem isn't new. So that's kind of what's interesting as well. Like this has been brewing for a while. So let's listen to a little bit of sound, then we'll react.
Throughout the years, there's a lot of shelters in place. A lot of police presence there, could be several times a week. And unfortunately, a lot of it are fights. And most of it, I believe, is just gets swept under the rug.
Did you feel safe when you were a student?
No. There was no one supervising the doors. And you guys wasn't aware that they were even in the school to begin with. Like, imagine if it wasn't my grandma and my aunt. Imagine if it was someone trying to hurt the school or hurt someone.
This is a problem.
Add it to the list, Alison. Woonsocket,
add it to the list.
A poor performing school to begin with. It's one of the most poor performing in the state. And now this on top of that, you got to wonder how much learning is really going on there. And you said 5 last night at 6 o'clock. It was 4. They've added another one to it.
To 5 overnight. Yeah, so it's 5 separate fights from yesterday morning, forcing the school into multiple shelters in place, and it looks like roughly 12 arrests. And then the superintendent of schools, Patrick McKee, saying the behavior won't be tolerated, but it doesn't sound like anybody's taking that terribly seriously.
I don't think we had 5 fights during the entire school year, let alone in a week.
That's a good point. That's a really
right?
we got the camera at Dan's desk now. Excellent.
Oh, there you go. All right.
That's a good comparison, Dan. A year versus just one day.
Yeah. Listen, hold on. I'm sure it's not just Woonsocket that has fights. I'm sure we could go to any urban school and count.
5 in one day is a lot.
5 in one day is a lot. We'll give them that. But I'm sure we could go to any urban school and find the cops going there more than once a week. And you got to wonder if that's going on, how much learning is going on.
That is a hard job. A school resource officer, that is not an easy job. And that school, we were talking about this morning too. There's so many new schools being built. Have you seen East Providence?
Yep.
Pawtucket's getting a new school. Warwick. You can see Woonsocket definitely needs a new school too. I mean, we need to change the learning technological landscape as well for a lot of these kids, don't you
Well,
think?
I've had this conversation with the education commissioner. So we're just going to keep going down this road. It's 2025, but we still pick up kids in a bus, hundreds of them, send them to one giant building where there's like more than one distraction going on. And we change classes and the bell rings. Nothing's really changed that much since you and I went to school. Or is it time to blow up the whole thing? And maybe there's another way to do this. How is it, Alison? I've had this conversation with the education commissioner that the kid who the most poor performing kid can't do anything right on paper, F's all over the place, terrible student, can navigate his way around the computer laptop better than you or I can, find anything he wants, teach himself anything he wants to teach him. And yet when we stick him in this traditional school setting, they fail. How ever wonder that? How is it that any kid
student-centered learning, I think it can't be one size fits all, right?
Well, maybe it's time for, I don't know what, like a smaller building in your neighborhood that you go to. But the notion of these giant institutions where hundreds, thousands sometimes.
I think we've learned that
go back to the old schoolhouse, Gene.
Well,
right.
I don't know if that's the answer. They used to have the grades lined up, right?
Right.
But think of that. And the most poor performing kid, terrible, doesn't even show up. He can navigate a laptop and his cell phone better than anybody can and find whatever he wants. How is that possible?
Well, look at all the dropouts at Harvard and who they've become, right?
Yeah, they're not stupid, and they can
the value.
They can learn. Maybe it's the system that has to be blown up and started.
It's a fair argument for sure.
Just philosophical, rhetorical thinking, and nothing more than that. As we spend tens of millions to build new schools,
hundreds of millions,
hundreds of millions. Definitely. Central Falls, right? Aren't they getting a new one? CF,
they're getting a new high school, and they have several they have a couple of very high achieving charter schools right up against the new public high school. So, yeah, it's interesting to see. It goes back to the studies that deal with class size and performance, and as the governor keeps talking about, attendance matters. Mm-hmm. All of that. And now we've got so many schools that don't allow cell phones in the classrooms anymore. We're seeing, changes in behavior since that. Yeah. I mean, look, private schools, if you can afford them, parents send their kids there because they're more rigorous and the class sizes are smaller and they're more individually tailored for students' real world needs.
Catholic school enrollment is way up.
Catholic schools too. That's a great bang for your buck, right?
Yeah. And there's a line to get in. You have to sometimes do a lottery to get into a charter school, where they make the kids wear uniforms in some of them.
Right.
Now,
to the government test to get in, but it goes back to that old notion. This is a conservative notion, but this whole idea of choice, right? Just because you're living in one zip code, why can't you have the same choice of an educational system as other people, especially if you can't afford it? Why is that fair? It's not.
Yeah, there's another argument. The money should follow the kid.
The money should follow the kid.
Taxpayers will foot the bill for an education, not necessarily in a public school building, but here's the money, public money. You go where you want. You know best where to send your kid. Of course, the unions will argue that will only hurt the institution of public schools. If you're taking millions of dollars out of them, what are we going to be left with? It's an eternal argument. But I thought you cannot argue with the numbers: poor performing students, poor performing schools, poor attendance. Although the governor says I'm doing better on attendance. And look, to his credit, you have to be there to learn, right?
Absolutely.
And I used to chuckle when he said, by 2030, we're going to beat Massachusetts. You know what? Not that we're going to beat them, but we may get close only because they're coming down.
Well, also we're a lot smaller.
Massachusetts is coming down and we're going as we're going up. Yeah. Mass used to be the gold standard. Not anymore.
It's like working with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. There's a model called self-directed or self-centered models. And the idea is not every person with a disability and learning challenges should be in a group setting or a group home. Like there's other ways to work with folks to increase their quality of life and also the way in which they contribute to the community. So maybe learning should go in that same direction too. I don't know.
There's a question about mainstreaming too. Maybe not every child is fit for mainstreaming. Now, all of a sudden the light bulb's gone off on that. It's just not going to work mainstream.
Right. We are giving more resources now in the state to social and emotional learning, which is important with everything that's going on with social media. But 5 fights in one day, in one school, in one city is a lot. Can you imagine the principal and vice principal that day?
Yeah, that's what started this whole conversation we're having. There was one
That's what
socket,
started it.
5 brawls one day. So
We're going
all
to
right.
solve education today, Gene.
Yeah, right.
Crisis. I'll be very happy when one day I don't have to read crisis in the classroom when we go into a news story that deals with
Yep.
education. Would you call this a crisis, Jimmy Kimmel? He got back on the air pretty fast.
Yeah, here's my take. The Hollywood Reporter, I think, had the best reporting on it. When Kimmel made his remarks a week ago, coming up on a week ago, he told a Charlie Kirk joke as part of his monologue. It was not necessarily about Kirk, but it was about Trump's reaction to Kirk. And I think we could all agree that in what world is a joke about Charlie Kirk, who hasn't even been buried, appropriate on a late night comedy show? Anyway, that lit up social media. We understand the advertisers called the local stations. The local stations called ABC. ABC called him and said, get out there and either apologize or tamp it down. He refused to do that. So ABC said, you're not going on. You'll make a bad situation worse. Now, almost a week has gone by. Maybe they think the temperature has been taken down and they're going to let him go on tonight. So we'll see what happens when he goes on tonight. Is he going to apologize? Is he going to offer some sort of a unity statement, or nothing's going to change?
Governor Newsom is his guest, right?
Well, there you go. So now, Newsom has become Trump's arch enemy. So much for this that everybody was afraid of the FCC. It doesn't look like ABC was that afraid. They're putting Kimmel back on.
A lot of Hollywood got behind Jimmy Kimmel, Meryl Streep, Jason Bateman, all of them. Free speech. It's not hate speech. Those are different. But then you're getting back into like how much of this was about governmental censorship versus it's a private company who can make its own decisions. So that's where it's sort of going back and forth. But there's over 400 signatures from A-listers saying it's free speech. Right?
That's no surprise. That's no surprise,
Right.
Alison. Maybe 500 Hollywood people who are going to sign a letter for Kimmel. But the point is, what's the real narrative? Because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is a chilling on free speech." ABC is afraid of the FCC. Well, it doesn't seem like they're too afraid because they're putting him back on. They're with Governor Newsom, we understand. And yesterday, Whoopi Goldberg was allowed to spout off against Trump, and the late night comedians who are left have been spouting off against him. So, is the narrative that it was advertisers complaining to stations, complaining to ABC, complaining to Kimmel?
Was Newsom booked before all this? Are they just holding his booking, or do you think?
Well, it's awfully coincidental that the president's critic in chief it looks like he's going to be tonight's first guest. So I'll tell you what, all of that, good TV. I'll tune in. Only we're not tuning into this market.
Great TV. Well, it's also in the context of late night, and where is late night going as a whole, and viewers. There's a lot of layers to it, definitely.
No. And our parent company, Sinclair, which just bought ABC6, is not going to show it tonight. They're preempting it. Sinclair is demanding he fully apologize, and not only that, make a donation to the Kirk family. So the Sinclair stations, 31 of them, ABC affiliates, including Washington, D.C., will not be carrying Jimmy Kimmel tonight.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And like everything else, many sides to the story.
Yep.
All right. Connecticut is banning first cousin marriages.
I thought that was banned.
I thought so too. I was like, how is this news? What are we talking about? Believe it or not, the practice is still legal in 16 states, including good old Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Connecticut law already bans people from marrying a parent. Okay. A grandparent, sibling, and child. Health experts say sexual relations between first cousins can increase the chance of birth defects. Mario read this story this morning. I'm like, what? What are we talking about? Are you serious? 2025? I had no idea it was legal.
Right.
Anywhere.
Allison, I love how we're showing file tape of wedding gowns and wedding restaurants. Like this is very normal here. First cousins over here. What?
Dan, that VO is a little odd. Odd choice.
A wedding's a wedding. So
a wedding's a wedding. Weird, right?
Yeah. But where do you sit? I guess if you sit on the groom side or the bride side, or it doesn't make a difference in the first family. In the first
cousins. Does that include first, second, third? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, very odd. Very odd.
Today. So what else did you have on the radio today? I didn't hear you this morning. I was bouncing around.
Well, I had quite the go around with Mayor Smiley yesterday over the loan forgiveness program for teachers of color only. The Rhode Island Foundation. Rhode Island Foundation gave the money to the city and the state. They administer the program. And the Department of Justice says you can't administer a discriminatory program. Mayor Smiley supports that. So he and I went round and round on that. We also talked about rent control. That's going to be an issue for him in the election. He's not for rent control. And we talked about ICE on the radio, and then he went right out of my radio studio and signed an executive order saying that the cops will not preemptively assist ICE, and the cops must wear no masks and wear a uniform. And he urges ICE to do the same thing, although he knows he cannot order a federal authority to do that in the city of Providence. So he didn't bring that up on the radio with me, but he went out and signed the executive order after that.
No, he did talk about his main focus going into, he's not going to pay too much attention to the gubernatorial race, right? Because he's focused on his own.
Yeah.
Do you think he's concerned about his opponent or not?
Well, he told me a while ago.
Obviously is natural, but is it a real threat?
With regard to the governor's race, he did tell me a while ago that he was supporting Governor McKee. I asked him about that yesterday. It sounded like it was a lukewarm endorsement this time around. Well, I'm more concerned about my mayoral race. I won't be getting that involved. I don't. I think he's taken David Morales, the liberal state rep, seriously. I don't think he's worried about losing to him. Smiley has the east side tied up. He's probably going to beat him handily.
Despite the increase in taxes, which is...
Yeah, but Morales is on, he's very good with social media, and he makes videos every day, and he's willing to take on Smiley. And he sees himself, Morales sees himself, I think, as the Mamdani of Providence. A socialist with free this, free that, rent control, and he embraces the term sanctuary city. Whereas Smiley insists we're not a sanctuary city in Providence. So you've got a clear distinction between these two. What do you got for us, Dan?
I'm just curious, have you had any success in trying to get Mayor Smiley and David Morales in the ring together? I know you asked the mayor about that yesterday.
I did ask if he would go wrestle Morales, because Morales is a professional wrestler in some league. I don't know the league, but I said, why don't you just go wrestle him? That'd be good for charity. It'd be good for us to cover. Smiley didn't take the bait on that.
No, he didn't like that.
So he said he won't wrestle. No.
Gosh, his term's going by fast. I can't believe it. There's something else I wanted to ask you about with him. The city buying these buildings potentially. I kind of get the idea of why lease it when you can own it, but I had no idea. Is Waterfire Art Center? I didn't even know it was up for sale. I don't think it is. It's just kind of a deal. Doesn't Waterfire need it? Or is the nonprofit just suffering and it needs to cash out of the building?
Okay.
That surprised me today.
Waterfire perennially complains that they have no money, that it costs too much money. It costs a lot of money to put on. We don't have the money. Now, they own that building. Now, the deal is
they got a lot of taxpayer dollars to renovate that building. And usually that comes with, those incentives come with strings attached, for lack of a better way to describe it. I didn't know they could just sell it off.
Well, so now they're going to sell the building to the city, get a cash infusion, and then lease the building back from the city, but they'll have a pile of cash to sit on. This is one of those things. Hold on. Just let's take a closer look at this. And by the way, some people say Waterfire, the bloom is off the rose. It's not drawing what it used to be. That was a controversy. We had that. That was a topic a couple of months ago.
Their offices are there, but it's not like they're storing, as far as I know, it's not like the gondolas are even stored there. It's become an event center. And my understanding is it's pretty expensive to rent the space to throw an event there. So I'm just like, where's all this money going? I don't understand why they're in such dire need.
So the city's got the money to give to buy the building, to lease it back. Waterfire will get an infusion of cash. Now, listen, Waterfire supporters will tell you it does draw a crowd, maybe not as big, maybe it's not as hot as it was years ago, but it does draw downtown. The restaurants like it. It's an economic generator. What was the second building that he has on?
It was a municipal building, and I think the city pays just under, what is it, like 1.3 or 1.4 a year to rent. It's a Paolino property. Listen, if you're spending over $1 million a year to lease it, you might as well buy it. Like, right?
Well, that makes sense. Listen, there's a lot of buildings the state and the city rent and lease.
You're always better off.
Lot of deals out there.
Well, not always.
A lot of state properties that are still leased and rented.
But what I don't understand with Waterfire is I thought the whole idea of that building was so they could have an asset, so they could build up not just Waterfire, but all the other events that they curate that are art driven around the city. And that just, it's busy all the time there, Gene. There's always events happening at Waterfire.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess that's a win for the city, though, if they get it, because then they can start using it for more community driven events for folks who might not be able to afford getting in the door. I don't know. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
You've been there before, right?
Yeah. Well, they had the Best of Rhode Island there. We were just there about a month and a half ago. It'd be an infusion of cash. Should the city be in this business?
Well, that's
of
another
you know,
question. So what does the portfolio look like at that point? Are they getting into the rental? Yeah, right. What would
yeah.
be the purpose of that building then?
Well, they had
Interesting.
they
Let's
had they
ask
had a
the
million.
mayor the next time.
Yeah, they had $1 million for the penguins. They just gave it. They spent $1 million for the penguin
You and the
enclosure in the
penguin.
zoo. Go ahead and figure that out. A cash-strapped city that's raising
Penguins and
taxes.
elephants do not belong off
Yeah,
of 95.
I don't think so. I don't think elephants and penguins are native to Providence, Rhode Island. I think they ought to be where they belong in the cold weather, and the elephants ought to roam the savannah in peace. Leave them alone.
Gene, if you ever run for governor, this could be your platform. No
Free the
elephants, no penguins off of 95.
Right.
Have you
Yeah.
been following the Helena camp at all much since she announced? She's been
Just as
out
she
and about.
announced. Yeah, she's out and about. Listen, that could be a tight race. There was a new poll showing that I guess if other people get in it, the governor has a path to victory. He's going to hammer her. He's already portraying her as the opioid queen because she was running CVS when we had the opioid crisis. She's going to hang the bridge around his neck as much as she can. So that race hasn't even started. They're not even running commercials yet, right? They haven't started that.
No,
And
I
who?
don't
Oh, that's
think Corona's running, but I still think there's a good possibility Sakarchi jumps in.
well, depending. I just asked 2 people yesterday. One person said absolutely yes, Sakarchi is running. Another person said no. I happened to I happened to cross paths Sakarchi at a restaurant over the weekend. He's going to come on my radio show. He said, "You're going to ask me if I'm going to run for governor." I said, "I guess I will, or maybe I won't." So
I mean, that's the news, right? If that happens, we're still a year out, a year plus a month. But yeah, wild, huh? All right. Well, that does it for us today. I'm not going to watch Kimmel live tonight. There's no way, but I'll be curious to see how that goes. Governor Newsom, he's good on his feet.
Oh yeah, no, listen. From a booking point of view, you couldn't have booked a better guest.
Right.
Trump's arch enemy coming back as Kimmel comes back. If you can't watch it on the local market because ABC6 is not going to carry it, you know what? As soon as he says
grab
something,
it on YouTube.
It's going to be all over your phone and your Twitter feed. You won't miss a minute of the action. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Sounds good. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
I'll see you back at the station.
All right.
Bye, Dan. Bye, Gene.